Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. How are we doing? I'm sure we loved the video that just played out. Let's see. We're going to be using the comment section a lot in this session. So I hope we are ready. So good afternoon. My name is Durizina. I am the Admin and Communications Officer for Lead for Good Africa. So I'd like to get to know you. How are you? Where are you joining us from? What's your name? So can we use the comment section, please, so that we can go right into the session? Thank you. All right. I'm not seeing any responses. Are we here? Are we together? I want to know if we're together, so we start. So you can just drop in your name and where you're joining us from. So we hop right into it. All right. Okay. Okay. Okay, so hello, Hope. Nice to meet you. You're joining us from Nigeria. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So let's just, because of time, we're going to jump right into it. Oh, hey, Barbara. Oh, I think I remember you from our last session. Thank you for joining us again. Welcome. Thank you. All right, so let's go straight into it. So I know you're asking, sorry, I think we should already know by now why we're here. We're here to listen in and learn how to build capacity in our minds and build resilience and mental wellness in this tough world that we're living in, because truthfully, the world isn't getting any easier. Things are getting harder, and we need to learn how to step up and use our mind, use our mental strength, and push through. All right. So I want to briefly talk to us about Lead for Good Africa. I'm sure you'll be checking your email to be see, Lead for Good. Who are these people disturbing us with all these emails? So here I am to quickly simplify everything for you, all right? So let me quickly put it up for us to see. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Yes. So who are we? Who are we? I hope we can see my screen. Let's not be just me. Okay, I think we should be able to see it now. Yes, thank you. So Lead for Good Africa, we are a leadership development and empowerment social enterprise with a mission and a vision to eradicate poverty and improve human capital development on the African continent. So Lead for Good Africa is focused on two main things: building capacity in your mind and building capacity in your skills. So now let me try to break things down a little bit on the difference between building capacity in your minds and building capacity in your skills and how we actually do this. So building capacity in your minds. I know if you ask the normal, let me not even talk about Nigerian, because we have our Zambian sisters here and we have a whole lot coming in from different places across Africa. So let me just say, ask a normal African, what exactly is the problem with Africa? Yeah, and what they'll tell you is, oh, there is light issue, there is corruption. They would list quite a number, which we're not saying isn't true, but the normal African wouldn't talk about themselves and see themselves as a problem, not themselves per se, but basically their minds. There is this fixed mindset that we believe most Africans have, and because of that, they are not able to take the lead in their organizations, take the lead in their nations, take the lead in their countries, and be able to navigate opportunities and utilize those opportunities to their own advantage. All right, so this is what we do here at Lead for Good Africa. We help you build capacity in your mind through leadership development. We have leadership development sessions, and sessions just like this right here, we're building capacity in our minds, you get? So now let me try and explain building capacity in our skills. All right, so there's this mantra that we believe in Live for Good Africa, and it goes like this: we don't believe in giving people fish. Rather, we believe in teaching people how to fish, and help them making fishermen in their societies. I think we should kind of understand what that is. All right, so we teach people, we empower youths and women, all right, on how to use skills, because it's not just developing your mind, you need to develop your skills, okay, to know how to better improve your societies and improve your communities. All right, and I really hope that with these explanations, you can try to understand what we do at Lead for Good Africa and what Lead for Good Africa is all about. Okay, so without any further ado, I would like to introduce Mrs. Chinonso Clark, who is our CEO here at Lead for Good Africa, to come on in and talk about herself and introduce our amazing speakers who are already on ground. You guys don't know how much of a session this is and how much of a session it's about to be, because you are about to be so impacted. All right, so thank you. I believe I'm just going to stop there. Mrs. Nonso, do have the floor.
Hey, Zina. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening. I know that we have people joining us from East Africa and other countries who will come in eventually, and of course, those who are going to watch this later on. So thank you for joining this session today. We're looking forward to having an insightful conversation as we talk about building resilience and mental wellness. This conversation is being hosted in commemoration of World Mental Health Day, which took place last week, Tuesday. And we're just really talking about how we can build resilience as young people. Like Zina said, we know that things are getting tougher, the world over. We look at what's happening in Israel, we look at what's happening right here, in Nigeria, even all across Africa. We all are going through some sort of challenge, and as young people, we need to begin to have the conversation. How can we build resilience, right? How can we navigate the challenges that we see if you're leading a business, because I saw the number of people who registered for this session. Everyone just seems to be going through a tough time. So how can we actively thrive, right, even in the midst of the challenges that we are facing, in our respective areas? And I'm super excited to have three amazing people. I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm super excited to have three amazing people join us for this conversation today. I have the amazing Lady Gwen. I can't tell you, she has a book, and she's someone who you should absolutely listen to. Her story would encourage you, her story would inspire you, and I won't even say much, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce her. I'm also going to introduce the amazing Dari Asobele, who is doing fantastic, phenomenal work, right, with young people. I can see him here. Okay, he's doing, let's see, I'm just trying to navigate. Okay, I can see Coach AK. Yeah, Coach AK. Okay, sometimes I come with a lot of energy sometimes, but I can see Coach AK. Coach AK is a leadership coach, he's a counselor as well. I can see, yes, Lady Gwen is here. I can see Lady Gwen. I think I saw her a moment ago. So I'm just going to make each one of them a co-host of this meeting so that they're right in front of my screen. Right. So let me go ahead and introduce them. Okay. So Lady Gwen is a media mogul, like I'm trying to get that out so that I can quickly, with over 20 years experience in the media industry. She has worked with individuals and organizations of repute under various capacities as a presenter, a producer, director of programs. She's worked with the Eloy Awards Foundation. She's worked with Fumi Iyando. She's consulted as acting GM with the producers of Africa Magic Shows. She's a lead consultant and manager at Lady Gwen Media, a media consulting firm for media setup, management, recruitment, capacity building, content development, script writing, voiceover. In fact, she's a multi-dimensional woman, and she's actively mentoring young people, which is so exciting for me today. She's the author of Naked and Squared, a book that focuses on personal experiences of mental health and how to navigate it. So do you want to give a big round of applause to welcome Lady Gwen, who will be sharing? Just give her a round of applause in the chat room, wherever it is that you want to make her feel welcome. And I want to know that you're right here, following through the conversation that we're about to have. I'm going to introduce, thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. Good to see you again today. I'm now going to introduce Dare Asobele. Fantastic. I've got the right audience. Dare Asobele is a Nigerian lawyer, is a mental health advocate, humanitarian, project manager based in Nigeria. He's also the founder of Executives Helping Initiative and Anti-Suicide and Depression Squad, a subgroup of Executives Helping Initiative. He was recently recognized by the Lagos State government in Nigeria for the phenomenal work he does in raising awareness and advocating for best practices that promote mental well-being especially for young people. And I think that there is an amazing work, and I think that he deserves a round of applause and an encouragement for all that he's doing working with young people. Please make him feel welcome, make him feel welcome, make him feel welcome. And right, of course, not the least, but Coach AK, Coach Akanimo Ekong. I call him my boss. He's fondly called Coach AK. He's a leadership coach. He's an indelible trainer, an expert recruiter. He has an MBA from the prestigious Lagos Business School. He's a professional certified coach from the International Coaching Federation with over 800 hours coaching senior leaders, executive managers, and teams. Have you met a coach like Coach AK? I'm sure you haven't. He's a certified mental health practitioner from the Richmond University, USA, and the Institute of Counseling, UK. He counsels youths and adults on depression, suicide ideation, anger management, and relationship issues. He speaks regularly at conferences on topics such as parenting, stress management, and workplace toxicity. His mission is to create a world with fulfilled people, build strong teams, and capable organizations. Now, are you ready to have them share? I hope you're ready. You better be ready. You better be ready. So we're going to take opening remarks from each one of them as we delve right into our conversation. I know that we'll still have more people join us as we continue. Ready? Tell me you're ready. Ready in the chat. Ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? You better be ready. Tell me that you're ready. Hi, Tammy. Where are you joining us from? Let us know where you're joining us from. And if you're just joining us, let us know, where are you joining us from? Put it in the chat. Where are you joining us from? We want to have an idea of where you are joining us from. Okay. Put it in the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from. Ready? Yes. Come on, bring it in. Oh, Tammy, you're joining us from the UK. Okay, Uche, Lagos, awesome. Ruth, awesome. Ruth, you didn't tell us where you're joining us from. Tell us where you're joining us from. I can't pronounce your name. Mona. Enugu. Hey, Darius in Enugu. Come on. So we have representation. Do we have anybody from the north? I think we have someone from Jos. Do we? Tell us, are you in Jos? Tell Ibadan. Bumi is in Ibadan. Fantastic. Okay, we've got good representation. Oh, Michelle. Hi, Michelle. Good to see you. Okay, you know that I come with a lot of energy. Yeah, so I'm going to hand over to Lady Gwen for her opening remarks. So she's going to talk to us from her perspective about how we can actively build resilience as young people, and best mental health practices. I hope you're ready. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm handing over the virtual mic to you now.
Thank you very much. That was so much energy.
Yes.
And I hope I can match your energy, but I'm actually just praying to God that this will be a life transformational meeting for someone who really needs this kind of therapeutic convergence. And in the comment section or the chat section, please kindly do this for me. If you've ever had to go through grief, maybe you lost someone, and you found it very hard, to cope with the pain. Maybe you lost a husband, you lost your job, you lost a friend, a dear friend. I remember there was a time someone I loved so much died. And, I mean, if you've ever lost someone, go to the chat room and said, yes, I have. Yes, I have. If you've ever lost a job, go to the chat room. I'm right there with you and let me know. Just say, yes, I have. I've had to go through this thing. If you want to tell me what that pain was, let me know. If you've ever probably loved someone and you failed, or you thought you failed, you had a broken marriage before, let's do that, because I have a very short time. I'm trying to, and if you've never ever gone through any pain in life, please be sincere. Just say, never have I had trouble in my life. And Bumi Akingbade, thank you for joining. Thank you, sis. Says, I have lost a close friend. Okay, if you want to share with me how it made you feel, please go ahead and let me know. I'd like to know. And if you've never ever lost anybody in your life, that it touched your soul, maybe you've never lost a job. Maybe your job was so perfect, you just decided to resign. Nothing happened. Please put it down in the chat room. Maybe you've ever believed God for a child, or maybe you're 50 like myself and you're not married and you're wondering, come on, I know bad now. What's the matter? I'm not that badly behaved, and yet you're not married. Or probably everything just went smoothly. 21, you're employed. 22, you're married. 25, you've had all your kids. Your life is 30, you're living in your dream house. You have your dream businesses. Put it in the chat room. I'd like to know. I'm trying to do a test. Okay, Bumi Akingbade said, felt broken. Please put it in the chat room. And if you've never ever had to go through anything in life, please put it in the chat room. Now, what I'm trying to do, okay, is to let you know that I have lost a job, says Zeno Etume. Thank you very much. What I'm trying to do, now listen up, is to let you know that every human, as long as you're on this earth, you will go through one form of issue or the other that is not palatable. One form of situation that is not palatable, that makes you feel less yourself, lower than God has made you to be, or that makes you feel lesser than what God has called you to be. Okay, God has called you to be great, to be, all that he wants you to be. But because of circumstances, they make you to feel less. All right. So it's not a problem with God. Okay. But it is life. Life has happened to you. Life happened to all of us. But you see, I remembered in my book, let me start by telling you that when I was a child, my mother died. And if you go through my book, in I think the first chapter, when I was talking about birthing fear, okay, I was taking a look back into how fear came into my life, into how I became broken. And I started to wish that life would just be simpler. In fact, there used to be a time I used to pray like, God, can you just give me a break? Can I just have a break in my life? And probably you're like me sometimes, that you're like, God, can you just give me a break? Let me have a breathing space. Let me breathe, and just enjoy life. Maybe for 2 months, 3 months, without problems, without challenges, without issues of life. I wish there were some things that life prepared me for. And one of them is the essence of life and death. I didn't know that. And I was too young. I was not prepared. So I lost my mother. And I used to wish, that all mothers would just be dead so that we all can be even as a child, and I began to grow several issues because of time. I will not go into some of these things, and I will urge you to please go get the book. I began to get into low self-esteem, and people will wonder, why do you feel low? Why are you not doing this? We see greatness in you. We see you becoming this. But I didn't see myself like that. In another chapter, I talked about how people see me. And the same thing I'm going to say to you. You're feeling low, you're feeling unworthy, you're feeling if you don't have a job, you are a nobody. I once felt like that. Sometimes I still do, because mental health issue is a continuous journey of victory. Every day you need to strive. You need to work towards that perfection. All right. It's just like if you're a Christian, it's just like you walking towards a continual race. Okay. Every day you need to work towards it. And so probably you're like that you're wondering, people are telling you, start this organization, start this business, send out, your CV, you can do this thing. And you're telling yourself, I can't do it. I don't have finances. I don't have connect. I don't have this and that. I need to tell you that if people are seeing you differently, and if God has imputed into you different things to become what he wants you to be, trust the process. Trust God to be that. So I'm going to tell you that in the last 2 years, I began to build resilience for the now, for each day, because each day is never a sweet day sometimes. Sometimes each day meets me on the wrong side, where I just wake up and I'm crying and I'm wondering, why is my life like this? But hey, if my life wasn't like that, I'm not too sure I would have been here to share my story. I'm not too sure I would have come into the mental health space and be able to help other people. I'm not too sure I would have found purpose, a new purpose, apart from media that I've done for almost 30 years. I'm not too sure I would have been able to share my story and be able to lift up someone who is depressed because they don't have a job. They don't know where their next pay is going to come from. All right. I've spoken in different platforms, different places, panelists, as a panelist, blah, blah, blah. More than I have done MC in the last 1 year. Okay. More than I've moderated, platforms in the last 1 year. Because people, we are all in the same space. We are all having same issues. It's just that the way we are processing it, and that's the resilience you and I need to build, might be different. And so in the last 1 or 2 years, I began to study resilience. I began to understand that life, just like David understood. I'm sorry if you're not a Christian, okay? But this is not to convert you. It's just what I believe. Just like David in the Bible had to wipe his tears. And this is what God told him. He said, run, overtake, pursue, and take over. All right. And this is what I'm going to tell to you. It is time for you to get up. It is time for you to run. If you are going to run being afraid, I don't care. You just got to run. Do you know when they say something is happening, you don't even care what is going on. You don't even want to know what danger is ahead of you. You just begin to run. And that's the way I need us to begin to attack life. I'm doing new things every day. Probably you think your life is so boring. Nothing new is happening to you. Now, this is what I need you to do. Can you make a list of who you like to become? And begin to take a list of those that can help you. And action. The third thing you need to do, put action into those things, into those strategies. And begin, if you need, for instance, I want to make a film. I like to become a filmmaker. I like to become a makeup artist. Okay. So what do I need to become a makeup artist? I need to get training. Who can train me? Probably I don't have money to get into those training sessions. Okay. Probably I can serve them. I can offer something in return and they can train me. Okay. And I can serve them and learn as well. Who can I call to help? If you need people to chip in funds to help you, call them up. I have 10,000 naira and the training session is 50,000 naira. Can you help me in any way? You need to arise because life is not going to wait for you. You need to come out of your grief because life is moving. I wish there are some things I know now, I knew then when I was grieving the loss of my father, because I'd gone through so much, through so much child trauma in every sense. And, and I'm like, someone says I'm a makeup artist. Okay, so I wish I didn't spend so much time, to grieve. I met a man 3 months ago, and I said, your wife passed on last year, and here you are trying to date again. He said, one day he just got up and said to himself, she's not going to come back. She's dead. She is dead. I am here. I need to move on. One day I grieved so much, and my brother sent me a message, and he said, sweetheart, can you reserve some love for we that are still living? So I'm going to tell you, can you reserve some kindness for yourself because you're still here? You're still here. You're still here. So let's do this exercise. 2 things we're going to do. Number 1, to you, what does resilience mean? Let me not give you my own term, Google term, whatever term. What does resilience mean to you? I like someone in the comment section. Please tell me quickly. What does resilience mean to you? Probably resilience at work, resilience in your relationship, as in your marriage, resilience, in you building your spiritual development or whatever it is. What does resilience mean to you? What does it mean to you? Please go ahead. Not giving up no matter what. Not give it. Thank you very much, Temi. Thank you very much. Temi, that's just the only person. Is that just the only person? I thought we are vibrant people to keep going, okay, to get back up when life hits you. Famzi, thank you very much. Barbara from Zambia. I think Zambia. Resilience means I fail, I try again with great strength and hope it will happen again. Okay, not giving up. Catherine Ethimfon. To me, resilience, Eberi says resilience is the ability to bounce back from whatever challenges. Sincerely, you all have the wura. Resilience means keeping and pushing on. Thank you very much. That's it. You all have done my job for me. So why is it that we are not building that resilience? Why? Why is it that we are not where we should be? Why is it that when we fail, we just sit back there and we bemoan our situation? We just keep mourning. Why? But I like to tell you, there are negative and positive emotion. Now, there is your inner will. There is the external and there is the internal. Okay? It is all up to you to choose. Which do you want? Number 1, ask yourself, the place I am, what I'm doing right now, is it harming me, or is it good for me, or is it bad for me? The moment you know that, okay, what you're feeling, you're sleeping 24/7, you don't want to get up, even when you have people pushing you to say, get up, come out, maybe come to a party, come to church or something. You say, no, the sun is out too much. I don't have something to wear. I'm not well skilled. Those are excuses. Ask yourself, am I giving excuses for those negative emotions to keep holding me down? There are times I go out, not wanting to go out. Can you beat that? There are times, sometimes I go out and it's dangerous. I go out, leaving my spirit at home, and my body is, moving. But in time, I snap out of it. You need to push yourself out of those dark holes, or else they will submerge you. If you need to get a therapist to help you, if you need to get someone who will be your accountability partner, please do it. I'm saying so many things, all right? Please do it. But you've got to close 2023 with a round of applause for yourself. Another point I'm going to share with you is to let you know that you are doing just fine. You are doing fine. Sometimes we don't even know that we've achieved. How do you know you've achieved? Why don't you take a listing from January till now? What are those things that you've done? They could be little. Take a listing. And then you see that the same person who stepped into 2023 is not the same person now. It could be that you've overcome, 30 minutes anger. It could be that you're more thankful and all of that. Then another thing I'm going to share with you, focus. You need to choose what you focus on. A lot of times, including myself, yours truly, we are focusing on the negatives. We are focusing on the things that we are unable to achieve. So I'm asking you, what is your focus? What are you focusing on? And stop focusing on other people's landmine, or stop focusing on other people's farm. Your father, oh my goodness, your father's farm is bigger than mine. Stop. Look at yours. Okay, so I can't afford bone straight yet, but I can weave my hair all back. Okay, look at Ilebaye in Big Brother Niger. That girl was pretty with a luscious natural hair. So why don't you be thankful for what you have, rather than wishing you had what is not yours? Okay, so you're not married, yeah? So you don't have kids, yeah? And you're wishing, oh, I wish, so a husband can be mine. Oh, he's so handsome. But why don't you look at the greatness inside of you and like, man, the guy that is coming, I'm going to blow, he's going to be mind blown because of the things you have developed yourself into. Why don't you look at yourself like that? So you need to focus on the right things, okay? On those things that motivates you, that takes you to a better place. Then I would also say, please be kind to yourself. I am one of my worst critics, okay? Sometimes it could be good. Sometimes it has its own negatives, okay? Don't beat yourself too much. All right, so if nobody was blessed, if nobody's life was transformed in this meeting, guess what? I will be glad that I came. Even if nobody asked me one question today, that I had this opportunity to speak to one person, it is a blessing on its own. All right? So stop beating yourself. Find the positive. Learn to be kind sometimes to yourself. Not just, oh my goodness, I wish I'd done it this way. I have regrets. If only I applied for that job, for that grant. If only. Let the past be. Focus on what is to come, what you can amend, what you can still get. There are so many things ahead of you. And finally, I'm going to say this, please. One of the things that helped me when I was so much in depression and I was losing it, I was suicidal, I had suicidal thoughts. God sent me a friend, Marilyn Maduka. God sent her to me and said, journal. Okay, can we do this exercise? So every morning I screenshot, I write it down in a paper, I screenshot, and she sent hers to me. I send mine to her. And this is what we do. So in the morning, she said, no matter how stupid, how trivial, it might be, just put it down. So guess what? Sometimes when there is no big job, no potential clients, nobody is inviting me to come and do MC, no job at all, no guy is toasting me. No, in fact, it just looks like my market just dried. Now this is what I do. I realized that my elder brother, he had this fatal accident that would have taken his life. And he lives in so much pain, neuropathic pain or nerve pain, neurological pain. There has never been any day that anybody called me for an emergency. Shouldn't I be grateful to God for? So I say today, I'm thankful for my brother, Dr. Lester, for you, God has given him the strength to cope with his pain. I'm thankful that I'm not sick. Okay. I'm thankful that this morning I can even breathe. So can you do this last exercise for me? It's called gratitude list. Can you have every day when life seems to push you to the wall? Can you generate a gratitude list? So you're going to do it for me. Give me 5 things you're thankful to God for. Whether you don't believe in God, whether you believe in the universe, whether you believe in the science of the world, irrespective of what you believe in, can you put it down? 5 things that today, let's even focus on today. Leave tomorrow, leave yesterday. Okay, 5 things that you're thankful to God for. 5 things. 5 things. And I'm going to go to the chat room. And with that, I will close up. 5 things. 5 things. 5 things. Come on now. Come on now. Give me 5 things that you're thankful to God for. Do you know Greatness, the lady that was pushed out of the vehicle by one chance in Abuja? She was following me on Instagram. We belong to 2 different groups, okay? And it was painful. And I cannot share some personal things this lady had gone through, but I'm here. I'm not better than her. You are not better than her, okay? But you're here. So 5 things. 5 things. Come on now. Give me 5 things. I can't see it. Okay. You're grateful to God for friends, life, family, good health, education. Can you break it down? Make it as trivial as possible. Friends is so bogus. It's so bogus. Life, it's so bogus. Family, it's so bogus. There are some enemies in your family, so you're thankful to God for them too. Yeah. Because they are going to come and see your greatness at some point. Okay. So 5 things. Come on now. 5. Thank you, Barbara. I wish I can send you a copy of my book, for you've been very, 5. I'm grateful to God for life. I'm grateful to God for my job. I'm grateful to God for things he's yet to do. I'm grateful to God for my family and friends. I'm grateful to God for good health. From Wurala. Thank you very much. I want to say to you, being resilient is not inborn. You didn't bring it from above, but you learn it. You build it. If you fail to understand that our failures are pathway to our success, then you have not learned the lesson. For my salvation, for my business, thank you very much for me. So you need to understand that life comes with challenges. Be flexible. I've said so many things. I've not highlighted them. I've said so many things. Be flexible when you go through stuff. So this is what I do as well. If Chinomso, the convener refuses to give me a job for today, guess what I do? Okay, so who else can give me a job? So I have my plan A, B, C, D, even Z. And that's just being flexible. Our God is a God of innovation, and you have to get innovative with life. When life goes show you crazy, you've got to tell yourself, I am crazier. And you may not be able to do it alone. If you need to get a therapist, if you need to get a psychologist to get there, to survive each day, please do. And be careful of people who will tell you shit happens. Okay, yeah, shit happens. And they will also tell you, stop the pity party. It's not a pity party, how you feel. How you feel is valid. Okay, how you feel is valid. But you don't have to stay in right there. You've got to go. Thank you very much. I hope I've not exceeded my time. I feel I have.
Can we give Lady Gwen a round of applause? Can we give her a round of applause? Oh my goodness. She went around, but she actually talked about very key things that we must focus on as young people. And I know that there are young people and some younger people, you know, if you get what I mean. But thank you so much, Lady Gwen. Perspective matters. Perspective matters, and you touched on that so powerfully. So I am going to hand over now to Dari, who is a young person, you know, and he can relate with the challenges that we go through as young people. And from his experience, he will be talking to us about building resilience and mental well-being. As you can see, Barbara has won herself a copy of Lady Gwen's book. So if you're active in the chat, who knows, you might just be in a free counseling session with Coach AK. But just stay in the chat and stay connected to this conversation. So I'm going to hand over now to Dari to take us through his opening remarks, how we can build resilience and mental well-being. Thank you.
So Chinosa, how many minutes do I have? So I can stick to time.
You've got 15 minutes. 15 minutes. Okay.
So I think I'll just start with like a quick introduction, then go straight to the topic. So my name is Dari Asogoda. Just like Chinosa mentioned, so lawyer, project manager, mental health advocate. And so for me, my mental health journey started in 2017. I used to be suicidal and depressed, and I was able to come out of it through God helping me out. And, you know, therefore starting the group. So basically at ASAD, we have a WhatsApp forum that has over 1,000 participants. And then we have a Telegram community that has over 400 members. We have free mental health training that happens every second Sunday of the month from 2 to 4. And then we also have a virtual support group as well. Even this upper week Saturday, we're going to be having a support group on single mothers, basically. And then we have access to mental health professionals, local and foreign, about 12 of them, basically. So I just had to put that out there. So for us, the goal is, you know, every 40 seconds, someone dies by suicide, right? So every year you have 800,000 people dying by suicide. And, you know, in Nigeria, we're over 200 million. So the goal is, how do we don't have up to 1,000 mental health professionals. So how do we get people that can be able to help out, you know, basically in terms of the mental health space, right? And thank you so much, Lady Gwen. Your session was really amazing, man. When I'm like, okay, do I really need to say anything? I mean, based on everything she has said so far. So we have a team called ASAN Listeners, basically. So these people are mental health first aiders. And in the journey of that space, we get to listen to cases. We listened to over 800 people in the last 2 years. And people are dealing with stuff, right? I saw some of the questions that we're going to be talking about, right? We're going to be talking about some of these questions. So I'll just go straight to it. The truth is I know like Lady Gwen used grief, but the truth is that so many things happen in life that require us to build resilience, right? While some people build resilience from having personal experience, some build by learning from other people, but one way or the other, like life will test us. Life is going to happen, basically, right? And I like this conversation because we need to prepare ourselves when this happens, right? So I'll just go straight to it. What does building resilience mean, right? And why is it important? Now, building resilience is crucial for navigating life's challenges because they will come. All of us are going to do with loss at one point of our life. Some of us have gotten that phone call. Some of us used to get that phone call that we would not want to get. I'm sure we all know what I'm talking about. And it has a way of messing with your mind or, you know, losing a work. But the question is, how do you bounce back? Okay, so building resilience is having to navigate through life's challenges and bouncing back from setbacks, right? And still maintaining that good mental and emotional well-being. And I'm sure some of us have seen situations where you find out later that when you saw certain people, they were smiling with you, laughing with you, but meanwhile, you had no idea that you were dealing with so much. And that's what, you know, making a smile can do right now. Smiling with you guys, you have no idea what I'm dealing with in time. Many of us can relate, you know, so, but the mindset is, I see building resilience as a mindset is, how do you bounce back? What are some of the things, some of the tools, what are some of the systems, what are some of the effective strategies you can use to be able to enhance your resilience, right? I know we have different audiences here, so I want to be able to speak to everyone. First things first, if you please take notes, please. Many of us will need it now, you might need it in the future, right? So just take notes so that when that time comes, you remember, because the mind is very powerful. You need to develop strong relationships. When people deal with grief, the people that stay with you are your closest friends, right? For anyone that has gone through it. So you need to develop strong relationships. You need to cultivate supportive relationship with friends, family, colleagues, social connections, because they will provide you, they provide now, and they will provide you emotional support and a sense of belonging, which can strengthen your ability to cope with stress, right? That feeling that, oh, this person is there for me, this particular person is there for me. As a popular saying goes, right? When the whole world disappoints you, family will always be there. I know many of us might disagree with that comment, right? In certain situations. Number two, you need to find a way to enhance your problem-solving skills, right? You need to get out of your comfort zone, right? Don't stay comfortable where you are. You need to put yourself in difficult situations now just to be able to learn and prepare your mind, right? Stretch yourself, right? So improve your problem-solving abilities. Like, how do you solve problems? How do you handle challenges? Find a way to break problems into smaller steps, basically, identify solutions, take action, learn to solve problems. It's okay to make mistakes along the way, right? It will boost your confidence. You want to be someone that is proactive whenever you're dealing with issues. Don't be someone to complain. Always be willing to think outside the box, find a way around it, right? I can share my experiences. Some of the things that I've done, sometimes I might not get support from people anytime I want support, but I'm always the kind of guy that I can use my 5 loaves of bread and 2 fishes to make things happen, right? But the essence of this session is not talk about me or what I've done, right? Then also the third thing is you also want to develop a positive outlook, right? Cultivate optimism and gratitude, right? Focus on positive aspects of situations. The truth is this, right? I personally do not like having people that like talking about problems around me a lot, okay? Because words are powerful, right? Everybody carries energy, whether it's positive or negative energy. So you want to be that person that most people around you, they feel that positive. And many of us have experienced such people, right? There are certain people that it's not even about them solving it, just their energy, talking to them, they just have this positive energy. And I hope all of us have people that if you found yourself in certain situations, let's say it was money, you have that person you can call. Like if we say like, how many of us, let's make it interactive. Do we have someone we can call if we say we're looking for 10 million naira right now, right? Does anybody know who they can call? Or do you have one person you can call or 2 people you can call if you said you're looking for 10 million right now, right? Does anybody have? Do we have people? I won't say you should call their names. Like, if you said you're looking for 1 million naira right now, do you have 5 people you can call that will come through for you? Not Davido style, right? Okay, Temi says yes. All right, so the truth is this, right? You want to be known as a problem solver, right? Because the truth is that many of us are selfish in a way. And what do I mean? Everybody wants value. Nobody wants problem, right? All of us here either joined this session because of either one of the speakers, right? Whether it was for Lady Gwen, myself, or the other person, because you feel like they have certain kinds of value that you would like to hear or listen to, right? That's why you're showing up for them, right? So what am I trying to say? People only show up for people that they have a perceived value that they can give, basically. So you want to be that person that people feel like you're valuable, right? Are you someone that when they come and meet you, they're always going to talk about problem? Nobody, even at work, I don't want to give work to someone that always complains. Everybody wants to give whatever problem is to someone that solves problem, right? Also, practice self-compassion, right? This is very, very important. I think a lot of times, many of us find ourselves in situations where you don't extend the same kindness and understanding that you would give another person to yourself, right? So what am I saying? Please treat yourself with kindness and understanding, especially in difficult times, right? Acknowledge your struggles without judgment. Yes, you messed up, you didn't do what you're supposed to do, but remind yourself that it's okay to make mistakes, right? For those of us that have had kids or you have children, or you will have children in the future, you see that when your baby is trying to walk and is trying the first time, it will fall down, he or she will fall down. You're not going to be that child, useless child, you don't know how to walk, right? You extend grace. The baby will keep trying until eventually the baby can walk. So I'm saying, please practice self-compassion. It is very, very important to practice self-compassion on yourself. Remind yourself that it's okay to make mistakes. And trust me, self-compassion encourages resilience, right? By promoting that self-esteem and emotional well-being. And I could share certain situations where I found myself where it seemed like all hope was lost when I was working on some project. It seemed impossible. And at the last minute, something was able to come true. And that is why ingrained in my DNA right now, I work in projects where I like projects where it seems like all hope is lost, right? And I'm able to come through. Like I have the track record of doing that. And that's because of that inner belief that I can't give up. I want to be able to push. Now, it came from a dark place. I mean, I failed a lot of times, but I had to build that resilience in me, even in terms of my work ethic, basically. So I don't expect you to get it at a go, right? Number 5, develop emotional regulation skills. Learn to manage your emotions effectively, right? Practice mindfulness, deep breathing, meditation, stay calm, even in the face of challenge. I have a friend, right? Anytime I give him bad news, he has a way of calming down, right? He has a way of calming down and being able to calm the situation down. Not many people can do that. I think it's a gift, right? Especially all these press people that give all this, that know how to like reduce negative news, right? So you want to be able to regulate your emotion, even at work, right? Emotional intelligence is very important. You want to be able to separate yourself from it. Like, for example, many of us, if you were angry or someone upset you before you joined this call, and as you're on this call, someone was to say something to trigger you, you would easily just say whatever it is that is doing. I mean, a lot of us must have experienced working with a tough boss or anything like that. I don't want to say toxic work, but we realize that sometimes you can be taking the hit, especially if you're a manager, you can be taking the hit from the directors, and then someone else can just misbehave. And if you don't control yourself, you just lash out on someone regarding something small that they did because you were not able to regulate your own emotions, right? So you need to learn these skills. How do you work on your emotional intelligence, right? Emotional intelligence is you being aware of your own emotions, being aware of the other person, and being able to separate things, right? Don't transfer any kind of aggression, even at home, right? It's very, very important, right? Cultivate adaptability. Be open to change, right? Be open to change. View it as an opportunity for growth. I mean, one of the things I've learned in my project management experience is that conflict is not a bad thing, even when working with people. A lot of times people see conflict as, oh, this person hates me. No, conflict is a good thing. I like conflict. Conflict just is telling you that someone just has another idea in terms of how to solve something. So that person is not your enemy. Do you get what I'm saying? So cultivate adaptability, right? Be open to change, right? See it as an opportunity for growth, right? Currently, I'm doing so. I just told you guys now that I'm a lawyer, right? And I'm a guess what, guys? I'm currently managing an oncology clinic right now in Enugu, right? This has to do with cancer. And I'm in charge managing professionals in the oncology space. What does a lawyer have to do with that? It's when I first joined in, like it was a difficult terrain. I had to learn a lot. I had to adapt to terms and all of those things, you know, and it's not easy. It's very uncomfortable, but I'm having to adapt because I want to grow. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's the same thing in work. You join a new work, and that's why some of these companies have trainings and all of these things. So I'm saying that be open to change, right? When you find yourself in difficult situations, see it as an opportunity for growth, right? The ability to adapt to new situations. See, for example, COVID happened. I hope you know that during 2020, a lot of people paid rent for the year, millions of naira, but they couldn't go to the office. Now, all of us let's imagine that before COVID happened, if we were to have a conference like this, all of us will have to gather in a physical space, right? But now we have people joining from different parts of the world, right? Listening to this. But imagine if we had to get everybody now, we have to pay for flight tickets for the person to come, you know, get the venue. But now we are having the same conference that we would have had if it was a physical thing virtually, and everybody still has that same experience. So please, what am I saying? Get used to being able to adapt to situations. I'm not saying adapt to situations that will kill you or break you completely, but just be able to, you know, stretch yourself small, stretch yourself small, right? Also, maintain a physical well-being, right? Do exercise, eat well, have adequate sleep, both physical and mental, take care of your body, you know, have healthy conversations with people, and just like I said before, develop problem-solving skills, like try and solve problems, even as little as mathematics. Stretch your brain. There are games nowadays you can play that just begin to build that inner resilience because you are tasting something, right? And also set realistic goals. A lot of times, when we look at some of the things that make us feel sad or break us most times, if we're being honest, are when we set unrealistic goals. Maybe you said, oh, I want to get married at the age of 20. I want to get married at the age of 25. I must be a billionaire by this age. I'm not saying all of these things are not possible, but you need to look at what are the step-by-step process you need to do or you need to go through to be able to get there. And also seek support. Just like Lady Gwen said, like there are mental health professionals, there are coaches you can get help from. And I think this last part is very important because we not this when I talk about seek support, like I think a lot of times people see seeking support as a form of weakness, right? And I want to beg you that asking for help is not weakness at all. Asking for help is saying, I don't want to give up. I want us to start saying it that way. Like, I do not want to give up. Just translating that, please help me is saying, I do not want to give up, which is why I'm asking for help. Do you understand what I'm saying? So please seek support, professional, paid, learn from people, volunteer for organizations that share your values, practice gratitude. A lot of times I'm sure a lot of us, if I ask everyone, wherever you are, whatever you're earning right now, you used to pray for it before. There was a time you were first looking forward to making your first 10,000 naira, your first 50K, your first 100K. Maybe you're not even making up to that now, but you were looking forward to that. Right now, you're making millions or whatever it is that you're making. But I know we always want more because it's true that human needs are insatiable. We always want more. But just practice gratitude, right? Can we just practice gratitude for like the next 10 seconds? Just look out for all the things that you're grateful for. I'm sure everybody can see me on their screen. You're not blind, not because you are more special. You can hear me, you're not dumb. You can speak. Your heart is working. Nobody is planning to do transplant for you. Now, this is not to laugh at those that are struggling, but I just want you to see how just being grateful is very important. The fact that you can breathe in and out. Do you know how much people pay for oxygen? But you're not paying for any oxygen, right? I've been working in this cancer space for a while. I see people with cancer, like last stage cancer, people that have died just from this disease, right? I'm saying you should be grateful right now, right? Just be grateful. Because the truth is there's only someone that is alive that can spend money. So be grateful that you're alive. Be grateful that you have a family, have kids. There's so much to be grateful for. And I will just end with this, like develop a sense of purpose. Me personally, in as much as I'm working where I'm working, my heart is always to help people, right? Community where people can improve themselves, create systems to make things work. I'm a mental health advocate, right? And so we need to find that sense of purpose. Engage in activities that give your life meaning. Yes, it's good to make money, do all of those things, but the question now is, when we leave this world, what will people remember you about? Nobody's going to remember your certificate and all of those things. They're going to remember how you made them feel, right? So engage in activities that give your life meaning, purpose, have a sense of purpose, right? You can provide motivation for other people, resilience for people during difficult times and all of those things, right? But please just remember that building resilience is a gradual process, right? That involves developing new habits, stretching yourself, having different perspectives, right? With practice and patience, so you can enhance your resilience and better cope with life challenges. So I don't expect you to memorize and know all of these things that I've said so far, right? But I mean, I'm happy that this is being recorded. Go back and watch this recording, right? Go back and watch this recording and just keep improving. So yes, that's just it for me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dari. Wow. I actually have been taking notes, what you shared. Strong relationships, self-compassion. I think that a lot of us need to learn self-compassion because we can be hard, on ourselves sometimes. And I just want to take this moment to actually celebrate and say thank you to Dr. Oyebola Elomobo, who is the GO of New Generation Bible Church, for joining us. Thank you so much, Doc. We're really grateful to have you in our midst. Now I'm going to hand over to Coach AK. I believe that he's going to nicely, put icing on the cake that we have baked throughout the last, 45 minutes. Coach AK is a leadership coach and a counselor, and I'm really, really looking forward to hearing him share his insights with us about how we can really build resilience and, his own perspective for us as young people. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the last speakers, Lady Gwen and Dari. The problem with being the last speaker is that sometimes they cover most of all the stuff that you want to speak about, and so I don't know whether to beef Nonso or Dari or Lady Gwen. But thank you. I'm also offended with Nonso. She said Dari is a young person. So I was like, So is she trying to, is she trying to say that I'm not? You know, I'm very Gen Y inclined. And so, but thanks a lot. Thanks for great listening to you guys. And I'm like, okay, but really, what do I have to say? As Nonso said, I'm a leadership coach and trainer. Incidentally, I mean, I read chemical engineering. Sometimes I feel telling people that story would help. And I read chemical engineering, never practiced it. Maybe that's one of those life journeys where, you know, you hit a roadblock and you think that everything is going wrong. But yeah, I hit the roadblock. Maybe I would have had more money than I have now if I was working on one of those 4 oil companies. But here I am, and I think this is where God wanted me to be, helping people, changing lives, and making an impact. Maybe I would have made more money in those oil companies, but no regrets looking through those when I look back at time. They really have captured a lot of what I wanted to say. I'll share maybe a couple of stories through my journey. One is, well, I hope nobody's going to laugh, but I recall once in my former life when I was in paid employment, and my MD asked me to visit, come to visit a client with him. We had a big presentation. I wasn't one of those people that like to go to visit the customers. I like doing all the back office, human resources, administration stuff. And in getting to the client side, it was a huge job. It was a bank. I found out one of the persons there was an ED who had gone to school with me in university. Anyway, cutting a long story short, the deal was about, we thought we were going to get the deal, and later on, our competitor was having an upper hand, and my MD said to me, can you please call this guy who you went to university with? And I procrastinated for like 3-4 days. This was a huge deal, about 2.5 billion naira. And I procrastinated for a couple of days. And when I look back at why I procrastinated, I gave all sorts of excuses. I'm working on this other thing. I'm working on this HR application. We're doing performance appraisals. Well, all was story. I think looking back, and I looked at it and said, well, how come I didn't want to call him? I didn't want to call this guy over a 2 billion naira deal. I think it just had to do with rejection. It's like I hadn't spoken to this guy in 8 years. And my mind was saying to me, how can you just suddenly call him? And then maybe in his mind, he would say, oh, so now you need my help, Abi. And I really had to do a lot of speaking to myself. 2 things happened. One was that I traced this rejection to back in, now you know how old I am, but back in my days when you go for a party, the girls sit on one side, the guys sit on the other side. And when the music starts, your friend will tell you, go and ask that girl to dance. So you walk all the way over. Nobody should laugh. You walk all the way over and you go and say, excuse me, dance. And I had the unfortunate, once in a while, I got that no. And that's not the painful part. That's not where the problem is. The problem is not that the girl told you no. The problem is actually the long walk back. You're walking all the way back to your guys, and your guys are laughing at you and saying, hey, this girl rejected you. But funny story, yes. But I found out that experience carried over into adult life, where I didn't want to call a guy over a 2 billion naira deal because I'm afraid that the guy will say, oh, it's because you need my help now. And so I had to talk to myself and say, I need to kill that, whatever happened in the past. That's, some may say, well, is that your idea of trauma? Well, maybe it was trauma for me, just being rejected and the girl saying no, and then walking back and your friends laughing at you. And as humorous as it sounds, we almost lost that deal because I was afraid to make that phone call. Eventually, I spoke to myself. I said to myself, hey, you're an HR director. People call you from out of the blues. You think that they're calling you to say, hello, how's everything? How's your wife? How's your family? And then they say to you, can my son come and do industrial training here? Can my son come and do a vacation job? So I said, people do that as well to you. And what's the big deal? what's the big deal? And that mantra of what's the big deal, it happens to you as well, is what pushed me to make that call. And long and short is we won the deal and I got a very nice sizable commission. And I said to myself, so imagine I would have let the trauma of the past not make me do that. That's not minimizing anybody's trauma, what people go through. I'm simply saying, and I like what Darius said, one of the things I constantly tell people is, don't be ashamed to look for help. Mental health has put a stigma. I think there was a quote by Bill Clinton. He said, mental health, that's not the stigma. The stigma is that we look at it in a negative way. So don't be ashamed to look for help. Don't be ashamed to go and say, I need to see a counselor. I need to see a coach. I need to speak to a friend, whether it's a family friend, whether it's a colleague. I have witnessed too many cases of people who've lost their life because they took their life, or people who, fortunately, they were able to come to a place where they say, I need to see a counselor, and we spoke. And many, many times, when I've been able to successfully help someone who's had suicide ideation or who has attempted it in the past, very often people want someone who is going to listen to them in a non-judgmental way and show empathy. And while we, people on this call, are here because we want to build that resilience, I also want to just throw in very quickly that yes, it's a very tough world, and let's do our best as well, whether we're counselors or we're not counselors, as friends, to learn to show empathy. An area that many leaders call me for to come and do training nowadays is how to lead with empathy, because they say, how come they keep on hearing this, especially since 2020, especially amongst Gen Ys, now Gen Zs, they always talk about show us empathy, show us empathy. And I say, yes, we can all practice showing empathy. Empathy, by the way, is not saying, hey, yeah, okay? So just throwing that out there. Empathy is not when someone tells you something that they've gone through and you say, hey, yeah, you didn't show empathy, okay? Empathy is not saying at least, so I've just gone through an abortion. You say, at least you can have children. Or I've just lost my son. Oh, at least you have another son. No, that's not empathy. Okay, so let us cultivate a habit or culture of showing more empathy to people who are going through stuff, even if we are also going through stuff. Who knows what the 5 major emotions are in the world? I mean, you Google, I'm sure you see 6, you see 7. Who can throw out some for me? What do you think? What do you think are the 5 major emotions? Just throw that in the chat box. 5 major emotions, or throw out any one you think of. Sadness, joy, love, okay. Anger, okay. Envy, anger, love, good. Anger, love, joy, pain, sadness. Nice one. Okay, let's see one more. Who is going again? We have a comedian in our midst. Okay. So great attempts. And I want us to memorize these 5 emotions. I personally feel that they should teach there should be classes in our primary and secondary schools around emotions. Okay, people are afraid to express emotions, people are unable to identify emotions. But generally speaking, the 5 major emotions in the world are anger, sadness, happiness, fear, and shame. Okay, I'm sure someone's going to put that in the chat box. Anger, sadness, happiness, fear, and shame. And why am I bringing this up? Because many times when we're going through stuff, when we're going through issues, you hear people say things like, I'm stressed. It's very common, especially in Nigeria, I'm really stressed, I'm stressed. And stress is so fuzzy. You're unable, when you say I'm stressed, it's difficult to be able to identify what exactly is going on. So there's a huge difference between saying I'm stressed versus I feel bad I didn't get that job. There's a huge difference between saying I'm stressed versus I'm devastated by that breakup. So it's important that we all learn to develop, and when you are feeling that stress and all that, to take a step back, pause and say, what exactly am I feeling? Identify that emotion. And under each of these emotions, I'm not expecting you to cram all of these, but under each emotion, you can have, so under anger, there's frustration is under anger. Being irate is under anger. Under sadness is, distressed or so many different emotions, different sub-emotions, different intensities. But even if we leave this meeting memorizing these 5, it can be really helpful because, like I said, instead of saying I'm stressed and then you identify, oh, I'm really upset that I didn't get that job, by breaking that down, that can be more helpful for you to address, okay, now let's set a goal around that. Now you didn't get that job, noted. Okay, we'll show empathy. Oh, you must feel devastated about that. We'll show some empathy by trying to identify the emotion that person is feeling. After we've shown that empathy, or you've shown yourself empathy, as Dari mentioned, then it's easier to now say, okay, so now I didn't get that job. So now I can pinpoint what's paining me. I didn't get that job. It's now easier to set goals around that. Maybe I need to do more interviews. Maybe I need to develop a skill. Maybe I need to go and ask for feedback from the people who rejected me. Maybe I need to have a better support system. So that's one of the things I wanted to leave the audience with is, develop that emotional vocabulary so that you can try and pinpoint what you're feeling and all that. I think Lady Gwen also captured, and that's one. Lady Gwen also captured something around circle of influence. And I'll just say, there's a circle of influence and circle of concern. Many times what stresses us as individuals is that we're focusing on the circle of concern, things that you can't really change, okay? So rather than focus on the circle of concern, it's important to focus on your circle of influence. What can you change? So assuming you've been laid off a job. Now, if you keep on focusing on your circle of concern, you're angry with your boss, how could they have done that to you? You're going to add stress, you're going to add anger, you're going to add pain. That's not very helpful. But focusing on shifting your focus to focus on your circle of influence will now make you say to yourself, okay, so now I've lost that job. It's painful, but I need to move on. Now, what can I do? What can I now do? Do I pivot to a different industry? Do I look for another job? Do I develop a new skill? So it's really important for us to improve our mental well-being, to focus on our circle of influence. In my previous life, I was an HR director, and occasionally I've had to hire people. I've also had to fire people. And there was someone that I had a good relationship with, but we had to let him go. Painful as it was, he left. 6 months later, this guy came back to the office. And I looked at him, and it was almost like there was a glow all over his face. I'm like, you are looking great, refreshed. I've never seen you looking this good in the 7 years you're working here. And almost like he came to tell me, thank you for firing me. He had decided to pivot from the procurement job where he was working into agriculture, and he was doing very well. That is someone who didn't focus on, can you imagine what this company did to me? And focused on, okay, what am I going to now do to now that this has happened to me? Like I said, I will also share these 2 other things, and then we'll move on, and then I will hand over to Chinon. So what are the things that we can do when adversity hits? One is focus, like I just mentioned, focus on the things that you can control. There's a concept called CORE, okay? CORE, C stands for control. What can I control in this area? Don't focus on the circle of concern, like I mentioned. Focus on what? Focus on the area that you can control. Okay, so that's what the core stands for. C stands for I'm going to where my area of control. B, or the next one, O, ownership. Decide that you're going to take ownership. Decide that you're going to not blame the circumstances. Don't blame Nigeria. Don't blame your parents. Take ownership of the situation. You're not blaming other people. You're not blaming circumstances. There was a picture a couple of weeks on social media where they showed a lot of expatriates coming into Nigeria. It caused a lot of buzz in social media. I don't know if anybody saw it. And the major thing I just took out of that was that here are expatriates coming, or foreigners coming into Nigeria with lots of excitement. They're coming to this very country that we complain about daily with excitement. They've seen joy, they've seen opportunities. And many of us are here, and all we see is the doom and gloom. If I asked you now, list out 10 things wrong in Nigeria, or if you're outside in East Africa or your country that you're in, I'm very sure, fast fingers, you're going to list out some 10. I'm sure some people are going to go to 20. Don't do it, or I'm not asking you to do it. 10 or 20 things. But if I ask you to think of great things about your country, very often it's much more difficult to identify the good in situations. It's very easy to identify the bad. Okay, so the O, who can remember what the C stands for and what the O stands for so far? Okay, so control, thank you. Focus on what you can control. Thank you, Balkis. I hope I pronounced that right. And then R, Dari mentioned it. Reach out. Reach out to people. Reach out to trusted people. Reach out to resources. Reach out to people that can provide the resources. Reach out to people that can provide the support. Reach out to people that won't laugh at you, okay? Who can give you a listening ear. Who, when you're pointing out your issues to them, they don't take your issues and then start telling you about their own issues and say, oh, this thing you're going through, I went through it 10 years ago. And then before you know it, the conversation is about them and it's no longer about you. No, so find those people that you can reach out to, okay? Real friends, partnerships, being in a society. I belong to the International Coaching Federation, Nigeria, and I can tell you it's a wonderful support group. Okay, when you think that you're going through issues, you find out that other people are going through similar issues. When you think that, okay, how am I going to get a contact into this place? You find that someone has a contact into that place. So whether it's your affinity groups, whether it's friends, family, your religious outfit, being able to reach out can help you grow through and go through that adversity. And then E stands for endurance. And that just talks about, viewing life with some level of optimism in spite of what you've gone through. Okay. Yes, life happens. I know Gwen said, maybe we shouldn't say that, but life happens. Life is unfair. Okay, or life can be unfair. And just having that mindset and knowing that it's not a curse when, the last two speakers said, one day something, you're going to get bad news. Okay, I know some people are saying, I reject that right now, but one day you're going to get bad news. And how are you going to be able to deal with it and go through it? And those areas of CORE many times can help you to go through those rough periods of whether that change, whether it's a divorce, whether it's I lost my job, whether it's, so whatever it is that life throws at you. These 4 areas can help you. Lastly, I'll just throw out some mental health and some other synonyms about mental health. And that is, they've found out, they've done a lot of research on the brain and found out that, there's certain things that you do that help to build your happy hormones. And there's an acronym called DOSE that I love, called, and D stands for dopamine. And I'm sure some of you watch those movies, or I'm sure you say it yourself when you listen to some music and you're like, oh man, that music is dope. That song is dope. This drink is dope, whatever it is. Well, that's where they got it from, is dopamine. And it's that feeling you get when gives you a natural high. Now, not advocating people going to substance abuse, but that's why people go into substance abuse, because it boosts their dopamine. Don't do it, okay? But there are ways of improving your dopamine even without going the road of areas that can destroy you. And one of the ways is, have you ever done a checklist of things you want to do over the week, and then you start, when you finish one, you tick it off, you finish one, you tick it off. Anybody feel good whenever you tick off, oh, I've done 4 out of my 5 tasks? Anybody felt that way? Well, that feeling you get, that's dopamine, okay? So sometimes I find out that I've done something, but I didn't write it down. Guess what I do? I go back and I write it down, then I strike it off. Why? Because you just have that great feeling. And that's dopamine. Another thing that that builds dopamine, yes, thanks, Dari. Another thing that builds dopamine is self-care, taking care of yourself, doing things that when you're stressed out, you and I know there's 1 or 2 things that you do that when you're stressed out, you feel much better. Please put it in the chat box. What are those 1 or 2 things? It may be crazy to some people, but it's good for you. What are those things that when you feel stressed out, when you're feeling down, you do that thing? For some people, they say, oh, I just love sleeping. I just sleep is what I do. For some people, it's a cold or a warm shower. For some people, it's dancing. Coach Lara, yes, I remember you mentioned that in ICF. Okay, so someone said reading the Quran, breathing, fantastic Balkis. Yes, so breathing is excellent, okay? Deep conversations about God, helping people. Okay, so helping people comes to what? The O. Thank you very much, Dari. So these are self-care activities. For some people, walking. Eating, don't eat too much. Okay, so during the COVID period, I was just analyzing all those COVID numbers and always I've been analyzing them in the evening. And I found out that I was getting stressed. I was getting so stressed. I was like, who sent me? Why am I doing this? Am I a data analyst, for God's sake? Why am I doing all this? And so I stopped analyzing the numbers in the evening, and listening to music just made me feel good. Just covering my ear and listening to music. So find out what works for you. Okay. Some people say they like singing. Some people it's for dancing. Some people it's the shower, whatever it is. Someone says gazing at the water, rivers, streaming, swimming pool. Yes. So find out what works for you. Okay. Someone's going to say, but we don't have waters here in Lagos. Or yes, we do. We have areas. Okay. So that's dopamine. And O is oxytocin. So whether it's getting a hug, massaging a pet, kiss, or doing good to others. Okay, so even in the midst of having difficulties, doing good, a kind word to someone else, helping out your local community, these are things that build the happy hormone called oxytocin. S stands for serotonin, and you can do that by getting a massage, taking a walk in the sunlight, 15 minutes of sunlight. Remember during COVID, that thing around getting vitamin, can't remember what vitamin was it D or Z? But yes, those things help to build serotonin. And the last one is endorphins. And endorphins mainly, and I can't emphasize this enough, is exercise. Aerobic exercise helps to boost those happy hormones. How many of you feel a high? I mean, you feel it's a challenge to go to the gym, but once you go to the gym, you feel much better. That's endorphins, okay? Watching comedy, dark chocolate. These are things that help to build endorphins. So DOSE, I hope I'm leaving that with you as well. These are things that you can do to feel much better with yourself. And I will just leave it there for now. Chinonso.
Thank you so much, Coach AK. Please, a round of applause for Coach AK and all of our speakers. I think that these acronyms are just really good to take home. So CORE, yours, I don't know what, I think that they're so good to take home it, and we can easily remember, and then things you can control, your circle of concern and your circle of influence. Please give a round of applause, a round of applause, a round of applause. Thank you so much. And I think that you've You've even answered the questions that we had, in the way, in every one of you, in your opening remarks, some of the questions that we had, I beg your pardon, to discuss and to look at in the conversational part of this webinar. So I'm going to ask the audience, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat right now. We've got just 30 minutes to take questions and answers. And since you're in the room, I think that is a good opportunity for you to take advantage of our I'm looking for the right words to use to describe our speakers. I mean, Coach AK, Dare, and Lady Gwen, fantastic, amazing perspectives that they've shared with us. Okay, but Balkis, I don't know how to pronounce your name. You say, what can I do to get a sense of direction in life? Lady Gwen, I hope that you're here. So this is the time where we're going to take questions. But before we answer Balkis's question, there's a question that was asked by someone, which I think we should look at. As young people, we're faced with the pressure that comes from navigating the world of social media. How do we deal with feelings of comparison, the fear of missing out or not meeting up to society's standard and perception of success? Who would like to take that one? Coach JK, do you want to take that one? Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, so let Dare answer, because I mean Dare can really feel that pressure, and then Coach AK will answer that question. Thank you.
Yeah. So I think the question is just talking more around dealing with social media pressure. So my advice would be to limit social media use, right? Limit the time you spend on social media platforms, because there's always this perception of, nobody will post their sad moments, right? Everybody's posting the happy moments, right? And so if you're going to compare yourself, just even compare yourself with your past achievement, basically. And like I said before, practice gratitude, right? Regularly remind yourself of positive aspects of your life. And gratitude has a way of shifting our focus from what is lacking to what we have as well. And also just develop self-compassion as well. Be kind to yourself. Understand that everyone's journey is unique, and it's okay not to meet society's expectation, basically, right? And find that sense of purpose. Volunteer, because I've had the opportunity to manage over 1,000 volunteers in the last 10 years. I've met people where when they joined, they didn't know what their future was going to look like. They were confused, and being able to connect to the causes that we work in, they were able to discover themselves. And many of them have started foundations that are worth lots of money. I see how all of them have been able to connect. So just being able to volunteer for causes that matter to you. It could even be a cause that you are currently dealing with, right? And in you volunteering in that space can literally help you. So yeah, that's just it for me. Yep.
Thank you so much. Coach AK, over to you. Your perspective.
Thanks a lot for that. There's a quote I really love. It says, the man or woman that you see on the mountain didn't just fall there. And it means a lot to me, because very often in relating to this question, as Darius said, people think that this person he just landed overnight success. And very often it's not an overnight success. Okay, they're posting their success, but very often they're not telling you the journey. And so anybody who looks at me, for instance, now and says, man, successful coach and all that, you better let me tell you where I'm coming from. Or you better let me tell you when I was training to be a counselor and people were not coming for counseling. People were just keeping it in their chest, and I was being a very frustrated counselor, So things like that. So people don't tell you, very often they don't tell you the journey. And I think the journey is really important. So understand that social media has the good aspects and has the bad aspect. They bring the truth, they bring the lies, they bring wow, it just happened, I just hammered. When very often they didn't just hammer. So we need to also appreciate the process around that. And so to being able to distinguish and critically think through that there was a process that he needed to go through to get to that level. I think the second thing, and I will mention and leave it to Lady Gwen, is really, I really love celebrating baby steps. I really love it when, you know, I believe a lot in baby steps. So whether you're trying to walk 10 kilometers a day and you were only able to only do 1 kilometer, celebrate that 1 kilometer and tell yourself, tomorrow I aim for 2. Don't listen to those friends who are saying, only 1, me, I do 10, like every hour. You will just find yourself getting depressed, okay? So celebrate those baby steps. You scored 80, you scored 60 in a test. Yes, I know there's some parents who will say what some of our parents told us. The person who scored 98, do they have, finish the blank, finish, you can, you know what, do they have 2 heads? But I strongly believe, and one of my sons is on the call right now, you got 65%. Okay, so cool. We'll aim for 75 next time. I'm not going to beat you and finish you because you got 65. We celebrate that 65 and push you in an encouraging way for you to do better next time. So don't be hard on yourself. I love that, what I think Dare said. Don't be so hard on yourself. You fell down, get up. You score 65, you can do 75 next time. You failed in a business, okay. Some people failed in 10 businesses and then they still succeeded. Okay, so maybe that's not the right business for you. Maybe you need to try harder. Maybe you need to partner. Maybe you need to just go back and reflect. But take those baby steps, celebrate those baby steps. Those are the 2 things I would like to, I'll leave.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Celebrate baby steps. I'm going to ask Lady Gwen a different question that someone, sent across. It says, I recently made a bad decision, which I'm ashamed of. I know that we talked about shame in the course of our conversation, but this person says, I can't tell anyone. This shame has made me feel discouraged and even depressed on my journey of purpose. What do I do? So I'm asking Lady Gwen that question before we take the ones in the chat.
Okay, please pardon me. Let me just quickly chip in something on the previous question, because
that's fine.
I use the social media. In fact, if you want to say, I'm 24/7 on social media, because I manage pages. By the virtue of my work, I'm on social media. By the virtue of my platform, Lady Gwen Media, I'm on social media all the time. Now, I think one of the things that comparative analysis forces people to do is pushes them into a place of trigger that gives them that negativity towards their mental wellness. And I'm just saying that, okay, let me give an instance. There was a time I was really feeling internal pressure. There was no pressure from anybody, not even my church, because I made myself, I'm this sort of person that you can't bring certain conversation like marriage, like, why are you not married? Do you have high standard? You can't bring that conversation to me because I won't allow it. So people don't even feel free to say, they are praying for you. Don't pray for me in your corner. I'm good with that because I'm doing all the prayers. I'm doing all of the things, fasting, blah, blah, blah. It can really bring pressure. So there was a time I was following, to be specific, Bella Niger, and I was seeing weddings, beautiful dresses, handsome men, good things. I was seeing, the things I would wish for myself. And I also went on Facebook. I saw a friend of mine from primary school, and she was saying, Alhamdulillah, my son just graduated from university. Do you know the amount of the depression? I slipped slipped into depression. I cried and cried, second day, third day, and I didn't do anything. Now, I realized that social media at that time was my trigger. Do you know I unfollowed Bella Niger, all the wedding blogs, all of my triggers. So spot your triggers. What are your triggers? What are the things that when you see, you hear, associations, people you belong or community you belong to, that will trigger that negative emotion, that will bring a dangerous construction into your mental wellness? because you need to survive for you to move on to your tomorrow. Okay, so let me come to my question, talking about shame. I started saying something when I was doing my presentation, that there is no human being on earth that has never gone through shameful experiences, painful experiences, one experience that you're not proud of. You are not going to be different. So I think the number one thing is for you to understand that you're human. We make mistakes. You are not different from that other person that other medical doctor who was negligent at work and his patients died, even though you committed an abortion. It's all mistakes. You are not different from that person who undermined a particular opportunity. You are not different. It's all in the space of regret. But now this is the turning point. Number one, understand that every one of us will make wrong decisions at one point or the other. There are some people that taken jobs they were never supposed to take. Okay, that's a thing of shame and regret. Or they sold their properties, or they married wrong people. We all have it. You are not different. That's number one. Then number two, I will say, look, shame is toxic. What are those situations that is making you to recall that shameful process or decision? You need to look at that particular situation, take a step backward. In my book, I talked about, going back to the place of your pain. So why did you make that mistake? What did it do to you? Could you have done better? And then, look at all of those things and come back to yourself and say, these are the things I could have done better. And I would say another point is, please forgive yourself. And that's why we've been talking about being kind to ourselves, empathy, self-empathy. Okay. All right. So I had 20 million abortions and I lost my womb, but I'm still here. So what are the things I can use to improve my lot, to better myself? Okay. So I can adopt, and there are so many children in this world looking for mom and dad to adopt them. Okay, so I can, like someone talked about, whether it's Coach Jerry, talked about volunteering. So I can volunteer and pour out myself. So I can go to schools and tell them about shame, guilt, how it holds you down and how you're breaking free. The more you talk about your shame, the more you become shameless. Like I normally tell people that, look, you can't shame me. I know they get shame again because before you laugh at me, I'm already laughing at myself. And you must stop taking yourself too seriously because there are greater things ahead of you. We all make mistakes, but be ready to learn from them, forgive yourself, and move on and develop yourself because the world is waiting for you.
Yes, the world is waiting for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Lady Gwen. In the meantime, please, Zina, just share the feedback form as we begin to wrap up. Just put the feedback form on the in the chat as we begin to wrap up. There's a question that I think we need to take that Barkis asked, where he said, I'm just trying to look at what can I do to get a sense of direction in life? Coach Akanimo, Coach AK, I'm going to ask you that one. He says, what can I do to get a sense of direction in life? And then I see that Chioma and Barbara they've also asked the question. But once Coach AK is done, we'll take Barbara's question as we begin to wrap up the session. What can I do to get a sense of direction in life?
Thanks. Great question. A number of things to get a sense of direction in life. Understand your values. It's a value exercise I love doing with people. Understand your values. Sometimes even understanding your personality, so that like we talked about, like we mentioned earlier, you're not trying to copy what other people are doing. Who am I? what's important to me. Anytime I do the value exercise, I share 100 values with people and I ask them in 10 minutes to narrow it down to 10, 15, and then after that, narrow it down to 7 and 8. You'll be surprised how their eyes just open as it now starts understanding, oh, this is why this is important to me. And so you're no longer trying to follow someone else's path. You're following your own path. This is the kind of organization I would be based on my values that I would like to work in. This is the kind of cause I would like to join because this is important to me. So I believe understanding your values, sometimes understanding your personality really helps you to guide your path. I used to be very, very envious of a friend of mine. He can be on a flight from Lagos to London, and by the time he gets to London, he's going to spend the night in the person that he met on the plane. He's going to spend the night in the person's house because he's so extroverted, he's so engaging and all that. And I said, God, why didn't you make me this way? Because on a plane, typically on a plane, I'm either my earphones are my ear, I'm just reading my book, watching a movie and just eating. I'm not saying hello to the person here or there. But when I began to understand myself, that I'm more introverted, he's more extroverted, and that none is better than the other, then I now started seeing, areas that I bring value to people's lives. Listening, active listening, showing empathy, showing care and all that. So I'm no longer trying to be my friend. I'm very happy and content and confident in who I am. Okay. So I think those are two areas. But again, third thing is sometimes you need that headspace to talk to somebody. Okay. It can be a trusted friend, it can be a coach. Take out time to speak to someone. Sometimes you just need many times we define coaching as just having a thinking partner. A coach, a true coach is not supposed to tell you what to do. It's just supposed to help you to think through the issues that you're going through. And very often, if we provide that safe space to people, they are able to come up with their ideas as well. So maybe I will give out a free session for him if he needs a thinking partner to work things.
Wow, thank you, Barkis. Did you hear that one? Did you hear that? Thank you so much, Coach AK. I'm sure that will be very helpful, for him. Dari, I think there's a question for you, which says that. So it's Barbara who asked this question. What can one do when family is mainly what causes distress on your mental health? When your family members are the source of your I think most African families, there's just something there. So Dari, can you answer? Oh, you're a she. Hi, Balkis. I thought you were a he. Okay, you're a she. All right, sorry.
I saw the question. I'm like, I know, like, honestly, my own parent generation, right? They are not familiar with this whole mental health thing, right? The other day I was talking to my mom like some years ago, and she was just talking about how, where she grew up from. Like if she's saying that, if she's relating to some of the things that she's hearing are affecting people's mental health, then that means she would have killed herself too since, right? Because they had to grow that tough skin. So I'll be honest with you, right? Family members can affect your mental health due to some of the pressures that they can put in, right? So I'll just say a few things that I want you to take notes, right? So if you can just quickly get a book or bio just to write down what I'm about to say or pin it down. Because I don't just want you to listen. I want you to take notes, right? So just take notes, just write it down. So first things first, you need to set boundaries, right? So clearly define your boundaries, right? Communicate them assertively but calmly, right? So learn to say no when necessary to protect your mental and emotional well-being. Make sure you limit your exposure to toxic family members. There's always that one auntie that will come and be asking, when are you getting married? Or using such words, right? So if there's once you have information that such a person is coming, try and limit your exposure to that person. Just greet, go back to your room if possible, or go back to your place, depending on wherever you find yourself. Practice self-care, right? So prioritize self-care activities that bring you peace and relaxation, such as hobbies, exercise, meditation, or spending time with supportive friends, basically. So what does that mean? Times that you most likely spend with family, just try and see how you can also shorten like going out, meeting your friends. Also sleep well, eat well. It's very, very important for your mental health, because especially if you cannot provide for yourself at the moment, or you are not staying by yourself, seek support, right? So reach out to friends, colleagues. I mean, just like this session you're in right now, learn as much as you can. And then the truth is that it's not going to be all family members. God cannot be that wicked, that it will be every single family member that will be affecting you, your mental health, rather. There has to be one on that favorite uncle, that favorite cousin that can provide some sort of support that you do not have, right? So being able to defend you, such as, why are you asking her about marriage? You know, I'm just using marriage as an example, right? Just to be able to defend you, right? Also, another way you can seek support is consider seeking like a mental health professional, seeking help, talking to a mental health professional, right? We have access to therapists, local and foreign. In case you're interested, you can follow us on our sites, on our Instagram, and you get access to these people, reach out to them. And we also have coaches on the call as well. Also, number 4 is cultivate emotional distance, right? So learn to detach emotionally from negative interactions. This is very, very important. You know, growing up, I was not a person that if I go injured, they will beat me on top of the injury, or they will use words like, oh, are your mates, do they have 2 heads? I was those people that they used to say, do they have 2 heads and 4 2? I fall in that category. And so one thing I had to, you know, find a way to develop was to sort of shut out those words that were being used on me, like growing up. It's not easy, because if you're constantly like listening to this one, and for those of us that are parents, we need to be very careful. Words are powerful. That's why they're called spellings. They're like casting spells, right? You know, and it got to a point where my mom, they had to be intentional. And you know, when you want to say you're stupid or crazy, say you're blessed, right? In as much as you know that that's not what it means. So you have to be careful, as well, such as not to allow this word sink into your subconscious. Many a times when we say negative things to people, we might not react, but we go back, and when we're alone, we start thinking about it. So my mom thinks I'm stupid, my father thinks I'm stupid. They start ruminating in your mind. And so that's why it's very important that we're careful. Encouragement to go a long way. Now, so I know you might not be getting it, but just remember that you cannot control the behavior of others, but you can control your reaction and emotions. I know that there was a case that I was disturbed 2 years ago about, where a boy almost killed his father because his father provoked him, right? And what am I saying? I know that our parents have a way of provoking us into wanting to hit them or do, and that's wrong. We shouldn't be provoked to that instance. So what I will say is that, based on emotional intelligence, you know the things that trigger you. Avoid such situations, right? And then number 5 is seek therapy and counseling. Involve someone. Consider family therapy, right? And the truth is that I know you might not agree with this, but you have to learn to forgive your parents. Right. Reason being that they did not have the right templates, right? You have a situation where, say, for example, you have a family where there were 6, 7, 8 of them. Father hardly had time. They were brought up in such a way that they had to take care of people. They could not relate to emotional connection. They can't even hug you. I know many of us on this call, your father never hugged you or anything like that, because they did not really understand or connect. So that's why, as men, right, we have to be brought up in such a way that they have to be strong and all of those things. But you have to change that for your own kids, like going forward, right? So also, please do individual therapy. I promise you, therapy does not, a lot of times, some of the times when I talk to people, right, people feel like when they say therapy, that means they are mad, right? You can get therapy even when it seems that your life is going well, right? Just be able to find that balance. Even before I recommend therapy before you enter a relationship or date anybody, because you don't know, everyone is carrying one trauma or the other, right? Also, 6, practice forgiveness. Right, understanding that forgiving someone doesn't mean condoning their behavior, right? It means releasing your own anger and resentment for your peace of mind. Do you get what? Because think about it, when you're angry now, I know that you might be holding some people on your chest. It's you that is affecting. And so many of us can see situations where you're upset with someone, but that person is moving freely, the person is smiling, the person is happy, but you're the one that is thinking about why that person is going on with their life. So forgive yourself, right, for reactions or emotions that that is crucial. Maybe times where you lost and all of this. And also build a supportive network, right? Please build a supportive network. It's very, very important. Surround yourself with positive, understanding, and supportive individuals, and limit contact if necessary. In extreme cases, I think I saw online where a girl came out. I think her brother beat up a girl. And she came out and said that she had told them in the family that the boy was this, and that she had to pack out of the house and leave the family. So I'm saying if yours if your own is that extreme, if you need to leave the house, please leave the house so that nothing will affect all of those things. Also, practice stress reduction techniques. And if it's super, super extreme, please get legal help. I know Chin also is a lawyer. So if you need a lawyer or you need legal service or professional help, you can also get professional help. I hope one of these options that I gave would be helpful as well. And also, if you're a believer, pray to God, ask for guidance. The Holy Spirit can give you a word of knowledge as well if that also is something you believe in. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Very well answered. And I love how we always end up with, pray to God, get a word of knowledge, word of wisdom, to bring direction. So I think that the last, I'm going to ask Coach AK to answer this question because it came up in when Dari was talking, he talked about it. And it's men's mental health has been mostly neglected in our African culture. Men are raised to be strong figures, to protect and provide. But do you think a man releasing his emotions in times of adversity is shameful? How best can men come out about their brokenness without feeling condemned without feeling condemned and feeling of weakness? I'm not too sure, but I think it's about men sort of displaying emotions and when they go through difficulties.
Yeah, so that's one of those areas where society has molded us that men, boys don't cry. Don't be a girl, you're not meant to cry. I don't know where that came from, but obviously very wrong. So when a man feels like crying, when a man feels very sad, he has to bottle up. So I don't know what emotion the person was expressing. If it was that if a man broke down crying because he was sad about an incident and all that, that's in fact very healthy. If the man decided to beat up someone because he bashed his car, okay, that's not healthy, and we need to be able to help people manage that. But I think the main thing really is that we need to get away from that stigma of men are not allowed to express emotions. That's why very often, I'm sure you've heard the statistic, I'm sure Gary knows this very well. More women attempt suicide, but more men are successful at it. More women attempt suicide, but more men are successful. So very often, that guy who was successful in committing that suicide, if he just reached out and spoke to somebody, if he felt that there was a safe space where he could go to and say, this is what I'm going through. Whatever it is, financial, sexual, I can't have an erection. I'm going through this financial stress. My girlfriend is earning more than me. Whatever it is, I felt ashamed. I couldn't manage this everywhere. We need to, as parents, as leaders, as friends, we need to just provide that safe space. And that's why I said many times my magic formula in coaching and counseling is really just listening and providing no judgment and not saying, how could you have done that? No. You don't do that to people when they're going through stuff. Okay. So really providing that same space. So if we can, I think it was Barbara that asked that question. If we can provide that safe space where it's okay, guide people, guide the guy, please, you need to see someone. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to see a therapist. Nothing is wrong with you. Even as a coach, for a long time, leaders didn't want to come and see a coach because they will say, I built my business. I've run this business for 10 years. Why do I need to see a coach? No, we're not saying that you're no longer good, but sometimes what got you here can't take you to the next place. So there's nothing wrong with you, but sometimes, like I said, the coach provides that thinking partner for you to move to another place. So let's encourage our boys, our teenagers, our young people, that is okay if you're not okay. It's okay if you feel a certain emotion. One of my sons said to me, I don't feel good about listening to this kind of music. And one of the other sons was trying to tease him. And I said, no, it's okay if that's how he feels. And it's okay if you don't want to read this particular course. It's all right, okay? I read engineering, I'm not practicing it. So why am I beating up someone who says he wants to be a footballer or who wants to be a chef? And we'll knock him at the back, but later on we'll still talk, we'll still have those conversations. So it's really more around providing that same space, showing empathy to people and guiding them to places where they can go and get, safe, non-judgmental help. I hope, Barbara, I hope that helps. It's an African culture thing. It's not only a Nigerian thing. So we need to we need to just continue these conversations where we let people know it's okay. Go and see a counselor, talk to somebody, have these seminars where people can reach out. Don't bottle up. Too many people are bottling things up inside. They're going through physical issues, emotional issues, and very often speaking to someone, one session sometimes can make a huge difference, because sometimes it's just I need to just release my emotion. Sometimes people just need to also know that they're not alone. They're not the only people going through these kind of things. For some people that helps, but very often having a listening ear just really helps. So I hope that's okay. Please reach out to me on social media handles if we can talk further on that. We need to just keep up this kind of conversations. Well done to lead for Good Africa.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Now, everyone, please go in the chat and say thank you to Coach AK, to Dari, and to Lady Gwen as we're about to wrap up. And I want them to each one of you, just a last word of advice to each one of us, a last word of advice. But everyone who is here, go in the chat. I'm sure that this session has been very rich for you. I'm sure that you've taken things that would help you on your journey of building resilience and then also navigating life and the challenges that will come. So one last word from each of you, and I'm going to start with Lady Gwen. One last word for our audience from you, Lady Gwen. Are you here?
Okay. Okay. Yes, I am. Please, first of all, let me take this time out to appreciate all my community people who came. I can see Mommy Oyebola Ilomobo, so has already appreciated you, Mommy Capo, Pastor Funke. And on note to you, there is a particular platform, so this Coach Lara has been on this feed. If you see a whole lot of, the things she kept sending to the platform, it's an HR platform we belong to, of coaches. I'm like, this woman just came to write, and she's been screenshotting what all the speakers have said. So I'm telling you, it's been amazing. So
I'm also in that community too.
Sorry?
I'm also in the community too. HR Gems. I'm also in the community too.
Oh, you're there. Wow, fantastic. So you see what Coach Lara has been doing. It's really awesome. Thank you to everyone from all the platforms who came out, to be a part of this session tonight. I just want to say to you that your life matters. And no matter the challenge you're facing, you need to live. You need to face tomorrow, and you need to stay strong. If you're not okay, like Coach Eke said, it's okay not to be okay. Trust me, it is. It is. If you need to cry, if you need to seek support system, therapies, please do. There is nothing to be ashamed of. I've said so many things. So there is nothing to be ashamed of. You're not alone. Go see someone, all right? Because you matter and you need to live. You need to survive. Thank you very much, Coach Chinomso. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, Lady Gwen. Dari, over to you, your last word, and then after you will have Coach AK.
Okay, so for me, my last word would be to share my screen and say everyone should follow us on Instagram at Suicide and Depression Squad. Please follow us. We have events coming up for single mothers. We have a lot of activities. You can join the Telegram community. You can see our plans for 2024 as well. So in case you want to volunteer, join us or support us basically as well. So I know that there's so much I would have loved to talk about, but join the community. We have conversations on Mondays and Fridays that will benefit you. there's so much that we're doing that I know that need to exist like this. So just benefits from it. So if you know any single mother, let them sign up. I'm very big on confidentiality. Everyone will sign a non-disclosure agreement. Whatever I said there is confidential. You can see what we've done. We also do trainings for organizations, virtual and physical. We just did one for EMC Shipping Limited. So you can benefit so much from what we're doing, so that there's more like a follow-up system as well, in terms of making sure that you're good. And also please follow Lead for Good Africa, so you can be updated in terms of activities at the same time. So let's not just be hearers of the word, but doers. Like, let's be able to practice moving forward as well. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Dari. Thank you, and well done for the phenomenal work you're doing. Coach AK, over to you.
Well, you know me and my 4 A's and dope and all that. So I want to leave you with the 4 S's now. And one is, and we've talked about it a lot, support. You need to go beyond social media friends to find people who can support you. Sometimes it'll be friends, sometimes it'll be family, sometimes it won't be family, like in the case of the person who described. But find that support network that has your back when you're going through stuff. These are areas that can help you through when you're going through tough times. Sagacity, that's one of the S's. What can give you comfort and hope? Sometimes it's a quote. One of my favorite quotes at the time was, "This too will pass." And that used to be a very strong anchor for me when going through a very difficult time. Sometimes it's a scripture from the Bible or the Quran. Okay, so that's sagacity. What are those areas that give you comfort and hope? What are your coping strategies that keep you moving? We've talked a lot around those things. So whether it is taking a walk, reading a book, dancing, how do you cope when you're going through challenges and all that? And then the last S is problem solving. So what do you do when you're going through a challenge? How do you solve problems? For some people, they have a to-do list. Some people, they need to just take a step back and brainstorm. Sometimes it's getting a coach. Sometimes it's asking for feedback. So those are 4 S's that I wanted to leave you with that hopefully would help you when you go through those difficult challenges that we often go through. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I'm sure that. But so I really want to say thank you to each one of you for taking 2 hours of your time on Saturday evening when you could be doing other things, to spend time just having this conversation. And I know that the people who have listened to you have been really inspired, as I have been. And I'm sure that the people who are going to watch the replay as well, will receive direction, insight, and everything that they need to journey through the challenges and navigate all the challenges that life throws at us, on the journey of purpose. So I really want to say thank you to each one of you, to Dari, to Lady Gwen, who's amazing, to Coach AK, my guy, my boss. Thank you so much. And don't forget, you can get Lady Gwen's book. Just go on Instagram and follow her, Lady Gwen. Coach AK is Coach AK on Instagram. He's also Akanimo Ekong on LinkedIn. Dari is Dari Asobele. So I follow each one of them, and you should as well, so that you can keep in touch with the work that they're doing. If you want to reach out to us, please send us an email, info@leadforgoodafrica.org, and have a fantastic Saturday. Look out for the replay in your emails, and we'll be in touch. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this conversation. So have a good evening and enjoy the rest of your weekend. I'll be in your DMs. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Dari, I'm sure we'll
Bye.
connect.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye.